Friends, thank you for joining us for this portion of our continuation of the reading of First Kings. So, the big picture. Remember, First Kings and Second Kings were originally historically one book. We're only reading First Kings right now. We're reading them as separate books because they are actually in both Christian Bibles and contemporary Jewish Bibles listed as two books. So we're reading them as such. We continue our reading tonight. Near the end of chapter 15, we'll be resuming at verse 25. So we are nearing the end of this section that goes chapters 12 through 16, focusing on the splitting of the kingdom into two, into the north and the south. Originally under the reigns of King Jeroboam of Israel and King Rehoboam of Judah. Both of those kings are in the past at this point, but the kingdoms themselves continue divided, but nonetheless continue. Verse 25 will be our resuming point in chapter 15. We'll be reading from the left-hand column, which is the complete Jewish Bible. The right-hand column has the text as it's found in the New Revised Standard Version Updated Edition, which I'll be using mainly to point out where there's discrepancies between Jewish biblical language names for persons, places, and things and that differ from how they are most often presented in Christian biblical language. And yes, there is a difference between Jewish biblical language and Christian biblical language. So, verse 25. Let's pull up our timer. Let's spend some time reading from First Kings. It was in the second year of Asa, king of Yehuda, Judah, that is, that Nadab, the son of Jeroboam, began his reign over Israel. And he ruled Israel 2 years. He did what was evil from Adonai's perspective, following the example of his father and the sin through which he had made Israel sin. Remember, Adonai is the general naming of God that doesn't use the sacred name of God that was considered and is considered so sacred as to only be spoken by God. Verse 27. Baasha, the son of Ahijah, from the descendants of Issachar, conspired against him. And Baasha attacked him at Gibbethon, which belonged to the Plishtim, the Philistines. For at the time Nadab and all Israel were besieging Gibbethon. It was in the 3rd year of Asa, king of Yehuda, that Baasha killed Nadab and became king in his place. As soon as he had become king, he killed off the entire house of Yerovam, destroying every living soul and leaving not one survivor. This was in keeping with what Adonai had said through his servant Achiah from Shiloh. It was the punishment for the sins Yaravam had committed, and through which he had made Israel sin, thereby angering Adonai, the God of Israel. Other activities of Nadab and all his accomplishments are recorded in the annals of the kings of Israel. There was war between Asa and Baasha, king of Israel, as long as they both lived. It was in the 3rd year of Asa, king of Yehuda, that Baasha, the son of Achiah, began his reign over all Israel in Tirzah. And his rule lasted 24 years. He did what was wrong from Adonai's perspective, following the example of Yarvam and committing the sin through which he had made Israel sin. The word of Adonai came to Jehu, the son of Hanani, against Baasha. I raised you up out of the dust and made you prince over my people Israel. But you have lived in the same way as Yarvam, and have caused my people Israel to sin, so that their sinning has made me angry. Therefore I will sweep away Baasha and his house completely. I will make your house like the house of Yarvam, the son of Nebat. If someone from the line of Baasha dies in the city, the dogs will eat him. If he dies in the countryside, the vultures will eat him. Other activities of Baasha, his accomplishments, and his power are recorded in the annals of the kings of Israel. Baasha slept with his ancestors, and Elah his son became king in his place. Through the prophet Jehu, the son of Hanani, the word of Adonai was proclaimed against Baasha and his house, both because he did so much evil from Adonai's perspective, angering him with his actions and becoming like the house of Yaravam, and because he killed Nadab. It was in the 26th year of Asa, king of Yehuda, that Elah, the son of Baasha, began his reign over all Israel in Tirzah, and he ruled for 2 years. His servant Zimri, commander of half of his chariots, plotted against him. Finally, one time when Elah was in Tirzah, drinking himself senseless in the house of Arza, administrator of the palace in Tirzah, Zimri entered, struck him down, and killed him. This was in the 27th year of Asa, king of Yehuda. Zimri then took Elah's place as king. At the beginning of his reign, as soon as he took over the throne, he killed off the entire house of Baasha. He left not a single male, neither of his relatives nor of his friends. Thus Zimri eliminated all the house of Baasha, in keeping with the word of Adonai spoken against Baasha through Jehu the prophet. This word had been spoken because of all Baasha's sins and the sins of Elah his son, which they committed, and with which they made Israel sin, thereby angering Adonai, the God of Israel, with their worthless idols. Other activities of Elah and all his accomplishments are recorded in the annals of the kings of Israel. It was in the 27th year of Asa, king of Yehuda, that Zimri ruled for 7 days in Tirzah. At that time, the army was besieging Gibton, which belonged to the Plishtim. The troops in their camp heard it said that Zimri had plotted and killed the king, whereupon that same day, there in the camp, all Israel made Omri, the commander of the army, king over Israel. Omri and all Israel with him withdrew from Gibeton and besieged Tirzah. When Zimri saw that the city had been captured, he went into the citadel of the royal palace and burned down the royal palace over him, so that he died. This came about because of the sins he committed in doing what was evil from Adonai's perspective, in living as Yaravam had lived, and in sinning by making Israel sin. Other activities of Zimri and his conspiracy are recorded in the annals of the kings of Israel. At this point, the people of Israel divided into two factions. Half of the people went after Tibni, the son of Ginath, to make him king, while the other half followed Omri. But the faction supporting Omri won out over that of Tibni, the son of Ginath. So Tibni died, and Omri became king. That, friends, is where we're going to pause right there. Chapter 16, verse 23. That's where we'll pick up next time that we pick up our reading of 1 Kings. Have a blessed evening, dear friends. Peace be with you.